Today, we're going to be testing the difference between Primitive and Ascendant in Ark Survival Evolved. Anyways guys, it's Neroku here, and today we're going to be seeing which one is actually the better one. Well, obviously Ascendant, but we have about 13 different weapons, and we're going to be seeing the difference. Alright, so for the pickaxe, we're going to be testing out a few different things, and for every single weapon, there's obviously different factors that go into it. So there's like mining, and then there's hitting, like, you know, punching and damage and all that stuff. But anyways, so what I'm going to do here is test out just hitting a piece of obsidian or an obsidian rock first with Ascendant, and we're going to see how much you can actually collect and how quick it goes. So it looks like it takes 4 hits, and you get 12 obsidian. So now let's test it out with the regular pickaxe, just primitive, and we're going to see how much we get. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 hits and 8 obsidian. So it looks like there is a little bit of a difference. And now with Ascendant hitting a tame, you do about 69 damage, and primitive 25. So that is the difference between the pickaxe, Ascendant, and normal. Alright, so for the long neck rifle, everyone has a long neck rifle. If you don't, what are you doing? Alright, so now let's test it. Primitive, it does about 196, just standard, regular bullet, even though there are no different bullets, but 756 for the other one, so it's like 2 or 3 times better, more towards 3 times better than the primitive. And as you can see, once again, dramatic difference, about 550 damage difference there. And now with just the normal hitting a tame or a wild tame, you can see the primitive does 8 and the Ascendant does about 30, so it is about 3 times better. And yeah, so that is it for the long neck rifle, and let's go on. Now the club, who doesn't have a freaking club when they just start out? And you want to know, how different is it from Ascendant? Is there even a difference? Well, anyways, I tested out hitting a dodo 5 times to see the torpor difference. As you can see, that's the torpor. And now let's see the difference between Ascendant and primitive. So I hit it 5 times. I missed it like 2 times. Got me some slack. I know I'm a little slow-minded, but yeah. So there is a huge difference there. As you can see, it's like 2 or 3 times more with the Ascendant. So Ascendant is going to come in like super handy if you're just knocking people out or whatever. So that's actually like the specifics on the difference between the primitive club and the Ascendant club. Alright, the Pike, the most used starter weapon in the game for melee. So about 40 damage just hitting normally, and with the Ascendant it does about 150. So that's about 3 to 4 times more damage, which is absolutely insane. So that is very good because these pikes are good for range. So if you're hitting or whatever, it's going to come in a ton more handy. Now for the sickle, let's see the real difference. I'm actually kind of interested. So it takes about 3 hits with the primitive sickle, and you get about 26 fiber. So now with Ascendant, let's see. Oh, 1 hit. That was 1 hit, and you get about 36. So it looks like for sickles, it does 1 hit, and it gives you about the same amount of fiber, if you do look. So it looks like for the sickle, the Ascendant sickle is just going to be going a lot faster, and you're going to be getting about the same amount of fiber, maybe a little bit more, but it is going to chop down those bushes. Oh, what am I saying? Chopping down bushes. It's going to chop down the bushes much faster than the primitive one. The compound bow. This bow is just freaking insane. Look at that. 228 damage with just a primitive one. So now let's test with an Ascendant one. Ooh. 740 damage. That is insane. Insane. That's not even a headshot. That's just a body shot. So now with trank arrows and a compound bow, if you're interested in that, yeah, that's the torpor difference there. And now if you do use it with an Ascendant, this is how much torpor it does. So there is a dramatic difference, but I don't know why you'd be using a compound bow for that. But alright, now for the slingshot. Let's test the slingshot. Who doesn't like a slingshot at early game? So why not? I just stuck it in here. So now, this was a little confusing on what the heck I did. So cut me some slack here. But for the Ascendant, you know, that's how much damage it does. But it does about 2 times difference. But anyways, looking at the torpor now, that's about 200. If you hit it once With the primitive, it goes up that much, so it's okay. It's okay. Now its standard is at about 290. If you hit it right now, let's see how much it goes up. It goes up about 50, so it does about 3 to 4 times more with the Ascendant than it does with the primitive. So yeah, let's move on. So for the pistol, now we're going to be testing primitive pistol versus the Ascendant pistol. So just hitting it normally once body shot does about 70 damage with the primitive. Now with the Ascendant, it does about 240. So that is a pretty big difference, and especially if you get a headshot. So now just with hitting it with the barrel or whatever that is, I don't know, gun parts, but it does about 3 to 4 times more damage if you just hit it like that. So obviously it is better. Alright, moving on to the Hatchet here. Now we're going to be seeing, just by collecting regular resources, 1 hit, 2 hit, 3 hits with the primitive, and it gives you about 6 stone. Now with the Ascendant, 1 hit and 7 stone. So once again, it looks like the Ascendant is going to give you a little bit more resources and a lot more like faster. So then testing that out, it looks like the Ascendant is about 3 times faster at just normal hitting, which is quite the advantage. But the Hatchet, you're obviously going to be using it for grinding, which is the most important part. Now for the Crossbow, let's see the difference. So if you go up to one of these Brontos and you just shoot it in the tummy, it looks like it's going to do about 95 damage primitive. And if you test out the Ascendant, it does about 350. So that's about 3.5 times more. So that's pretty insane, to be honest. Now, testing it out, we're going to just be hitting it. So it does about 8 damage. And now if you test it with the Ascendant, it does about 28. So it looks like there's a pretty big pattern for all of these. Looks like it's just about 3 times more for the Ascendant. The Ascendant is 3 times better. But this was interesting. With the flame arrows, it does 44 damage plus 80 each time, like 80 each second or something like that. Then the Ascendant, it does 160, but still 80 each second. So it looks like the Ascendant only affects the initial hit with the crossbow, not the flames. Now testing the shotgun. This thing is so useful in PvP if you want to get like a headshot on a Pteranodon or something. It's insane. So now just shooting this Bronto, it does about 44 times like 8 or 9 or something insane, but it does about 44 times whatever. But this does 102 times 8 or 10 or whatever, however many shots it is. But so it looks like the shotgun is only about 2 times more, I mean 2.5 times more. But if you do look at the bunting, or what would I even call that, just normal hitting, yeah, I guess, it only does about 2 times more. So it looks like the shotgun has a little bit less efficiency as Ascendant, I guess you could say, sort of. Assault rifle. Now this is what I've been waiting for. This is the most important one. So now let's see. Primitive does about 38 damage, and you can get so many shots in. I think it's just insane. But the headshots don't actually do any more, so it's, or at least on a Bronto it doesn't. But now we're going to test the Ascendant, see how much this bad boy does. First one did 32, this one did about 117, so it does about 3 times more for Ascendant. And once again, the headshots don't really matter, at least on the Bronto. So anyways, distance far away, it doesn't affect it as well, as you can see. So there seems to be a common trend here, and that common trend is that the Ascendant does about 3 times more, like 2.5 to 3 times more damage than the actual primitive. So that is the pretty big difference, along with hitting, except for the shotgun. The shotgun did 2 times for some reason, but on average it's about 3 times. So that is it for the video today, guys. If you did enjoy, or I did miss anything, make sure you link it or comment it down in the comments below. I know I did skip over some things like the pump action shotgun just because they were kind of repeats, but I didn't really want to, you know, just do the same thing for the whole video. So yeah, make sure you guys check out my Instagram if you haven't already. I post dope things on there every single day, so make sure you go check that out. Link in the description, and I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow. I might be posting every other day for about a week or 2, so just keep that in mind. But I'll see you guys tomorrow or the next day. Peace.